Yes, Fox 32 has investigated Henyard's use of a police security detail, taking officers off the street and costing thousands of dollars.
For a year now, we've been reporting on questionable spending by a South suburban politician named Tiffany Henyard. But we only knew half the story.
All right, buckle up, because today's story is straight out of a Hollywood drama, except it's happening in a small village just outside of Chicago. It's a scandal that's been brewing for months, and now it's finally exploding. You won't believe the level of corruption, deceit, and betrayal surrounding Dolton Mayor Tiffany Henyard. If you think you've seen politicians go down in flames before, trust us, this one takes it to a whole new level. So grab your popcorn because things are about to get crazy. First off, we're talking about a mayor who's living like a celebrity, treating taxpayer money like her personal piggy bank, and using her power to silence anyone who dares to question her. And the icing on the cake, she's under investigation, not just by local authorities, but by the FBI. Yep, you heard that right. The FBI is in on this. And guess who's leading the charge against her? None other than former Chicago Mayor Lightfoot. The very same woman who made headlines as one of the most powerful figures in the city of Chicago is now putting her investigative skills to use in uncovering the shocking truth about Henyard.
Several new developments in South suburban Dolton today. First, the state comptroller has suspended some payments to the village because it has failed to follow the law by providing financial reports.
But let's rewind for a second and dive into how this all started. The seeds of the scandal were planted back in early 2023 when Dolton's village leaders began to grow suspicious of how Mayor Henyard was handling the village's finances. Now, it's not uncommon for politicians to get into a little hot water over money, but what makes this story stand out is just how bold and reckless Henyard allegedly was with public funds. We're talking first-class flights, luxury hotels, expensive shopping sprees, the whole 9 yards, and all of it apparently on the taxpayer's dime.
Deep debt, and that is the finding of an investigation of village finances and the spending habits of beleaguered Mayor Tiffany Henyard.
Now, rumors of financial mismanagement had been circulating for a while, but things really kicked off in March when the village trustees decided enough was enough. They called a special meeting to demand financial records from Henyard. You think that a public official would be quick to clear her name and hand over the documents, right? Wrong. Instead, Henyard stonewalled them, refusing to provide the necessary records. This only added fuel to the fire and raised even more eyebrows. Why would a mayor who's supposed to be transparent refuse to show the public how their money was being spent? Something definitely smelled fishy. And that's when the trustees decided to take drastic action.
Hey guys, this is Super Mayor Tiffany Henyard, the People's Mayor and People's Supervisor.
Enter Lightfoot. The trustees hired her as a special investigator to dig into Henyard's spending habits. And trust us, when Lightfoot gets involved, things are bound to get serious. She's known for being tough, no nonsense, and not afraid to get her hands dirty in an investigation. And let us tell you, what she's uncovered so far is nothing short of jaw-dropping.
You could feel the anger tonight at a Board of Trustees meeting in Thornton Township. The board and citizens looking for accountability to their finances, while the township supervisor...
But before we get into the details of the investigation, let's talk about how Henyard reacted when Lightfoot came on board. Instead of cooperating, Henyard did what any politician on the brink of a scandal does. She went on the defensive. She started spinning the narrative, claiming that the investigation was nothing more than a smear campaign against her. According to Henyard, she's the victim here. Yep, you heard that right. In her eyes, this is all just a bunch of fake news created by her political enemies to bring her down. But here's where things get interesting. Lightfoot wasn't having any of it.
No reason for anyone from a township to go to a mayor's conference. A mayor's conference is a mayor's conference for mayors.
Lightfoot came out swinging, debunking Henyard's claims and making it clear that the investigation was very real and based on hard evidence. In fact, Lightfoot even revealed that Henyard had racked up hundreds of thousands of dollars in questionable purchases, including a mind-blowing $43,000 spent on Amazon in a single day. Yes, you heard that right, $43,000. Now, we don't know about you, but that's the kind of shopping spree that would make even the Kardashians jealous. And the kicker? It wasn't Henyard's money, it was the public's money.
Who would make a one day purchase of over $40,000 to Amazon? And the main thing is, what is it?
But it doesn't stop there. Henyard's spending spree extended far beyond online shopping. She also blew thousands of dollars on lavish trips and luxury accommodations. And we're not talking about your run-of-the-mill business trips here. We're talking first-class flights, high-end hotels, and expensive dinners at some of the fanciest restaurants around. And while Henyard was living it up, the village of Dolton was sinking further into debt. In fact, according to a bank statement from September of last year, the village was already $7 million in the red. $7 million.
I am about to address some things as the supervisor. There will be no comments, there will be anything. It will just be me addressing you guys to tell you what's going on.
And guess what? That number has only gone up since then. Thanks to Henyard's reckless spending, the village is now facing a budget deficit of $3.6 million. Think about that for a second. While Henyard is jet-setting around the country and blowing thousands of dollars on personal expenses, the people of Dolton are left footing the bill. It's no wonder the residents are furious. As one outraged resident put it, it's like she's using our tax money as her personal ATM. And honestly, it's hard to argue with that.
You know, wrong is wrong, and there's a time to hold people responsible and accountable for their actions.
But it gets worse. Not only is Henyard accused of misusing public funds, but she's also facing allegations of embezzlement. According to a whistleblower from Henyard's own team, the mayor has been funneling money into her personal accounts for years. This whistleblower, who wishes to remain anonymous for fear of retaliation, has revealed that Henyard used a complex web of shell companies and fraudulent invoices to hide her tracks. And while she may have thought she could get away with it forever, it looks like her time is finally up.
Is there a motion to terminate Keith Freeman?
The FBI has reportedly uncovered substantial evidence of Henyard's embezzlement. Steam and insiders are saying that she could be facing jail time. Yes, you heard that right, jail time. Can you imagine? A sitting mayor who was once seen as a rising star in local politics could soon be behind bars. And honestly, it's hard to feel sorry for her. After all, she brought this on herself with her greed and arrogance. But let's not forget, this isn't just about Henyard's lavish spending and potential jail time. There's also the issue of how she's treated the people around her. Several former employees have come forward with lawsuits against her, claiming they were wrongfully terminated after raising concerns about her behavior. One of the most shocking allegations comes from a former staffer who claimed she was mistreated by a trustee working closely with Henyard. When the staffer confided in Henyard about the situation, she was allegedly told to keep quiet. Can you believe that? Instead of addressing the issue, Henyard chose to sweep it under the rug to protect her own interests.
Mr. Lacey is absolutely not guilty of all 9 counts. I believe he's cooperating. And if you cooperate, you have to admit your guilt first.
And it's not just employees who are speaking out. Residents of Dolton are demanding Henyard's resignation, and they're not backing down. They've held protests, packed town hall meetings, and even taken to social media to voice their outrage. One resident summed it up perfectly, saying, "This woman has done nothing for our community except line her own pockets. We deserve better."
Very appreciative to receive the information today. We have the best mayor ever. I've been here since 1993.
So with all this mounting pressure, what's Henyard's response? Well, predictably, she's doubling down on her victim narrative. In a recent town hall meeting, Henyard accused the media of focusing only on the negative aspects of her administration and ignoring all the good she's supposedly done. Where were you during our Easter event on Sunday? She asked reporters. It's nice to see the media here, but I wish you all would show up for the positive events, not just the chaos and spectacle.
So that's one of the reasons I vote no when we go through our board packets. It's like, you know, some of this stuff, it's like you don't know exactly what it's for, and then when you ask a question, there's no answer.
But here's the thing. The so-called positive events she's talking about don't seem to matter much when the village is drowning in debt and residents are struggling to. It's almost laughable that Henyard thinks a few Easter egg hunts and community picnics will distract people from the real issues at hand. And speaking of distractions, let's talk about her charity. Yes. The Tiffany Cares Foundation, a charity that was supposed to support cancer patients but has turned out to be little more than a front for Henyard's personal gain. According to investigators, this so-called charity isn't even registered with the Attorney General's office. In fact, Henyard has been served not 1, but 2 subpoenas regarding her financial dealings with the foundation. And guess what? Despite being ordered to stop collecting donations, she continued to do so, raking in thousands of dollars in the process. It's honestly mind-boggling how brazen she's been throughout this entire ordeal.
But it saddens my heart that you are up here at this special meeting and not downstairs where we have big bingo.
So, what exactly are investigators looking into? Well, for starters, they're digging into Henyard's personal finances. They're demanding records of her wages, tax documents, contracts, and even checks made out to cash from her various ventures, including her restaurant, her property management company, and her political action committee. They're also looking into how she's been using township funds. From what we've seen so far, it looks like Henyard has been treating public money as her own personal slush fund, and the investigators are determined to get to the bottom of it.
This administration is shameful. Y'all are a disgrace.
We're watching the fall of this administration.
But the real kicker, it turns out that while Henyard was busy using public funds to fuel her lavish lifestyle, she was also funneling money to pay 2 police officers for overtime, ballooning the police department's budget to a staggering $9.2 million. And for what? To provide extra security for herself? It's hard to say, but one thing's for sure, something doesn't add up. Let's take a step back and consider this. Dolton is a small town. It's not New York, Los Angeles, or even Chicago. Yet somehow, its police department has a budget that rivals that of much larger cities. And a big chunk of that money is going toward providing extra security for the mayor. If that doesn't raise some red flags, we don't know what will, and it makes you wonder what exactly is Henyard so afraid of? Why does she need all this extra protection?
Terminate his employment. I don't believe that is legally correct. That's just not the way municipalities operate, right?
So what do you guys think? Should Tiffany Henyard step down from office? Or do you think there's more to this story than meets the eye? And with all these allegations piling up, do you believe her defense, or is it all just too suspicious? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. See you in the next one.